Lesson 98, Book 4, Stage 7. Lay, laid, laid. Lay, laid, laid. Lay an egg, lay the table. Lay an egg, lay the table. What's another word we can use instead of put? What's another word we can use instead of put?
Another word we can use instead of put is lay.
Very good. What's the paradigm of the verb to lay? What's the paradigm of the verb to lay?
The paradigm of the verb to lay is lay, laid, laid.
What did I lay on the table at the beginning of the lesson? What did I lay on the table at the beginning of the lesson?
You laid your books on the table at the beginning of the lesson.
About how many times a year do most birds lay their eggs? About how many times of the year do the birds lay their eggs?
Most birds lay their eggs once a year.
Single, go through, entire. Single, go through, entire. Do you think it's possible for a person to go through his entire life without telling a single lie? Do you think it's possible for a person to go through his entire life without telling a single lie?
No, I don't think it's possible for a person to go through his entire life without telling a single lie.
Why not?
Because every now and then it might be necessary to tell a small lie.
About how wide is a single bed? About how wide is a single bed?
A single bed is about 90 centimeters wide.
Very good. When traveling, is it usually cheaper to buy 2 single tickets or a return ticket? When traveling, is it usually cheaper to buy 2 single tickets or a return ticket?
When traveling, it is usually cheaper to buy a return ticket instead of 2 single tickets.
Very good. Fault. Fault. What's the paradigm of the verb to fight? What's the paradigm of the verb to fight?
The paradigm of the verb to fight is fight, fought.
Fought. Very good. What countries has your country fought against in the past? What countries has your country fought against in the past?
My country has fought against Venezuela and Ecuador in the past.
Perfect. Subject, verb, object, adjective. Some sentences contain the construction verb, object, adjective. For example, the wind keeps us cool. Milk will make you strong, etc. So, can you give me an example of the construction verb, object, adjective, please?
Work makes us tired.
Very good. Look after. Look after. Which would you rather look after for a week? A baby or a horse? Which would you rather look after for a week? A baby or a horse?
I would rather look after a baby than a horse for a week.
Very good. Why?
Because a baby will be easier to control than a horse.
Okay, very true. Behave, behavior, watch over, strangely, break into, kindness. Behave, behavior, watch over, strangely, break into, kindness. Why is it that children so often do not know how to behave themselves when there are no adults to watch over them? Why is it that children so often do not know how to behave themselves when there are no adults to watch over them?
I think the reason children so often do not know how to behave themselves when there are no adults to watch over them is that they want to do things that they are neither good for themselves nor for others.
Very good. What happens to children who behave badly? What happens to the children who behave badly?
Children who behave badly are sometimes sent to bed without food, things like that.
Okay. If one behaves with kindness to another, does that person usually return the kindness? If one behaves kindly to another person, does that person usually return the kindness?
Yes, if one behaves with kindness to another person, usually that person returned kindness.
Very good. If you were walking past a bank at night and saw men outside it behaving rather strangely, what would you think and what would you do? If you were walking past a bank at night and saw men outside behaving strangely, what would you think and what would you do?
If I was walking past a bank at night and I saw a man outside behaving rather strangely, I would perhaps think he had the intention of breaking into the bank, and so I'd probably inform the police.
Very good. If you were, on what kind of occasions are people usually on their best behavior? On what kind of occasions are people usually on their best behavior?
The kind of occasions on which people are at the best behavior are at a party, on public occasions, or when they go for a job, etc.
Very good. Far, a long way. Richard, as far as, distant. Far, a long way. Richard, as far as, distant. The word far is generally used in interrogative and negative sentences, whilst a long way is used in positive sentences. But this is only very general. So give me first the negative and then the positive answers to the following questions. Give me first the negative and then the positive answers to the following questions. Now, how far is it from here to the next town? How far is it from here to the next town?
It isn't far, it's a long way.
Very good. Did you walk very far this afternoon? Did you walk very far this afternoon?
No, I didn't walk very far this afternoon, and yes, I walked a long way.
Okay, very good. Sometimes the word away is added to the word far, especially at the end of a sentence. For example, is the sea far from here? Yes, it's a long way. No, it isn't far away. Another use of the word far is with the meaning of much. For example, Richard is far more careful now means the same as Richard is much more careful now. What's another use of the word far? What's another use of the word far?
Another use of the word far is when we use it as at the end of a sentence.
Very good. Can you give me an example, please?
She eats far less now than she used to.
Very good. Do you think that a child's life is far better than that one of adult? Do you think that a child's life is far better than the one of an adult?
Yes, I think that a child's life is far better than the life of an adult.
And why?
Because a child is constantly looked after.
Very good. Two other sentences with far in them are: they drove as far as the lake and back, and it's too far to go by foot. It would be better to go by car. We generally use the word distant instead of far as an adjective before a noun in such sentences as: the sailor came from a distant country and he's a distant relation of mine. We can also say a far distant country, a far distant relation, etc. if we wish to make our meaning stronger. When do we generally use the word distant instead of far? And give me an example, please.
We generally use the word distant instead of far as an adjective before a noun.
Very good. If you could look into the far distant future, what would you like to see there for yourself and for the world generally? If you could look into the far distant future, what would you like to see there for yourself and for the world generally?
If I could look into the far distant future, I would like to see myself rich, healthy and happy, and the world at peace.
Throughout choice. Throughout choice. If you had had the choice of being born in any period throughout history, which period would you have chosen? If you had had the choice of being born in any period throughout history, which period would you have chosen?
If I had the choice of being born in any period throughout history, I would choose the medieval times.
Why?
Because it seemed more authentic.
Okay. Have you ever gone throughout the entire winter without catching a single cold? Have you ever gone throughout the whole winter without catching a single cold?
No, I have never gone through the entire winter without catching a single cold.
Do you believe that people are all more or less the same throughout the world? Or do you believe there are real basic differences? Do you believe that people are all more or less the same throughout the world? Or do you believe there are real basic differences?
I believe that people are all more or less the same throughout the world.
Okay, very good. Official. What do we mean by a government official? What do we mean by a government official?
By a government official, we mean someone who works for the government, usually with a certain amount of power.
Very good. What do we mean by the official language of a country? What do we mean by official language of a country?
By the official language of the country, we mean that when the people of the country speak 2 or 3 different languages, the government of the country adopts one of these languages for official purposes.
Very good. What do we mean when we say someone does not practice what he preaches? What do we mean when we say someone does not practice what he preaches?
When we say that someone doesn't practice what he preaches, we mean that someone says people ought to do certain things, but he does not do them himself.
Very good. Priest. Would you like to be a priest? Would you like to be a priest?
No, I would like to be a priest.
Why not?
Because I couldn't be single all my life.
Very good. Kingdom. What is a kingdom? What is a kingdom?
A kingdom is a country or land which has a king or a queen as its head.
Pretty. What do we use the word pretty to describe? What do we use the word pretty to describe?
We use the word pretty to describe a little girl, a little house in the country, etc.
Now, idiomatic expression number 1. Hang on. It means wait. Very good.
Okay.
For example, hang on a minute whilst I go and get my coat from the next room. What does the idiom hang on mean? What does the word hang on mean?
The idiom hang on means wait.
Very good. Can you give me an example, please?
Hang on a minute. I think I have this address in my book somewhere.
Very good. Thank you very much. End of lesson 98.